So let's talk about branding your method, which is the third step. So when we brand your method, we really want to brand your signature coaching method by giving it a name and creating a graphic for a visual representation. And then ultimately, we're going to share it through our marketing efforts. All right, so the 3 steps to brand your signature coaching method. So we have the 3 steps to create it, and then I broke down the branding part to be 3 steps as well. Is step 1, we're going to brainstorm your signature coaching method name. And so I have some ideas here, and I'll kind of walk through the thinking behind it just to make it easier. However, if this feels too much, just come up with your own name. That's totally fine. I use resources when I've branded signature coaching methods in the past, like rhymezone.com. So you can put a word in and then it'll give you back other words that rhyme with it. And so it has that alliteration that just kind of rhymes and sounds cool. Word Hippo, like if you're trying to say one word, but it's not fitting, or you want to do an acronym or something like that, wordhippo.com is a great resource as well. Obviously, if you want to use AI, so ChatGPT, you can put some stuff in there and it'll give you some ideas. Thesaurus.com is another way if you, again, have a word, like you don't love system, but you want to use a different word. And I give you the packaging, the endings, some ideas on the next slide here. But, maybe the word transformation you might feel doesn't resonate with your coaching client profile. So you can go into thesaurus.com, put that in there, and it'll give you other ideas of what words may be the right fit. And then you can also just Google words that start with, if you're going to have the 3 C's, words that start with C, and see if any of those resonate with you as well. So there's some kind of tricks that you can do some research to come up with the perfect name, so I just wanted to give you that. So some people do an acronym. So think of, if memory, that's 6 steps. So the first step would start with an M. The second one would start with an E. The third step would start with an M. The fourth step would start with an O, and then so on, or whatever. You're spelling a word. It's kind of what I did with the Build Fast framework. Fast being filter, act, serve, track. It helps me remember it. So acronyms are great, or you can do a word or phrase that's on brand for you. So the Fast Track Coach model could have been something I could have named mine that's on brand. Like the Fast Track is, my trademark. It's all that kind of things. So you can kind of play with it and do something like that. You could also do one that works well is a verb plus a result. So the build is a verb, fast framework, right? So that's an easy one to do. Another one that works really well is the number of steps with the same starting letter. It's why I like 6 steps, the 4F formula, right? And then you can kind of play with the steps in the same starting letter. And that just gives that, again, that alliteration that just, just kind of steps. The example I gave, the 4F formula to financial freedom, that might be a little overkill with the F's, but you get a general idea. And then another one could be a number of steps plus the steps plus transformation. So it could be like the 5-step system to fit in your skinny jeans in 5 weeks or less, or something like that. It's a little long, but you can kind of play with that type of thing as well. An adjective or a benefit plus a core benefit. So like the empowered leader blueprint, if that, something like that, that really gives an adjective or just that benefit. And then we could pop in a packaged up words like system, blueprint. I give you tons of ideas on the next slide. So I want to make this as easy as possible for you to really just have a formula to plug in your stuff. Another one could be this calling out the specific audience, which is a great way to really narrow it in and speak to who you want to serve, plus the number of steps, plus the word steps, and then the transformation and result. So it could be the executives, 3 steps to leadership. So I'm calling out, I work with executives, and there's 3 steps to the transformation as leadership, or, whatever. If you want to put another adjective or benefit in front of that, you could totally play with that. Another formula we could use is the desired outcome plus the transformation. The word transformation is great in coaching. So you could say, the desired outcome is they want to be the wealth. So wealth transformation again, blueprint would be a packaged word that brings it all together. Another last one I have is the key technique plus the word mastery. So mastery is really powerful as well for a signature coaching model name. So the key technique, if you're teaching people how to be great negotiators, it could be the negotiation mastery system. Again, system being that package word. So those are just some ideas. You can hit pause and kind of work through this. I'll also have these in the workbook as well. But it's just something to get the juices flowing so that you can come up with your name that resonates most with you. All right, so here's the formula. It's everything I just shared with you, plus the different packaged words. So you would take whatever, makes sense for the front end and then have the word system, method, blueprint, process, formula. I've used toolkit, approach, a roadmap, plan, model, module, strategy, a protocol, guide, recipe, playbook, or there's all kinds of others. But those are the ones I primarily have used as I've created signature coaching methods for people in the past. So it's just a way to package it up and make it feel like there's step-by-steps involved. All right, and then step 2 is going to be where we're going to draw or sketch or mock up your model till we make that visual impact. So even if you're not an artist, that's okay. You can just grab a scratch piece of paper. There'll be an area in your workbook. You can do this as well. So, if a Venn diagram makes sense because you have 3, maybe 4 things that come together as one solution, a Venn diagram worked for me. I love Venn diagrams, but I also know I'm a Venn diagram geek. So a lot of people use pyramids or ladders. So just to kind of show that progression up, starting at step 1, and then you're going to reach the pinnacle, like where that's even John Maxwell, right? That's what he did, is more of a pyramid structure, ladder structure. And then another one could just be like a step-by-step that shows progress, like that chart in the middle, the ladder we talked about. You can kind of do a ladder visual, or just another step-by-step that kind of, shows the end solution with a flag or a star or something like that. You can sketch up whatever makes sense for you, right? If it's a blueprint, it might make more sense to show, a piece of paper with a map or something like that. Just something that visually represents what you want to do. And then the last step of it is to go and create the graphic. You have a couple of options. I would love for you to use your brand colors. We haven't necessarily got to the branding portion of CBA yet, but if you have like colors in mind, we want to stick to those colors, or just create yours in black and white, which is very classic. And then you can go back and add colors if you want, or whatever, but brand colors make it pop, and just kind of tells a story and keeps everything cohesive. Or when in doubt, just stick to black and white. You can use a graphics app. So Canva.com is very popular, and Photoshop, something like that, to actually create the graphic. And then if that's not your thing and you're like, I don't want to do that, go hire a graphic artist to bring it to life. You can share your sketch, you can share your mock-up, and let them know your colors or whatever, and bring it to life that way. Or you can get on a service like let's say Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and have them create something. If you have a pyramid in mind, or just some, whatever. When I work with graphic artists, I really like to have their ideas because they're much more artistic. So that's an option for that. Or you can get on, I think 99 Designs is another good option. Or, it doesn't have to be anything overly fancy. It could just be a list, like, something you create in PowerPoint or whatever. Don't overthink it. We just want to have something that we can share, whether it's putting it on your marketing materials, on your website, that kind of stuff. I love visual representations because it just brings that level of professionalism to the words. Remember, make sure your signature coaching method name is unique. It's not trademarked and not being used somewhere else, okay? So you can go, as soon as you come up with 1 or 2 ideas, pop it into Google, see what comes up, and make sure you go to the, if you're doing business within the US, to go to the, trademark search. I put the website in here and just pop in the name, and it'll bring back some visuals as well as words that are either in the process of being trademarked or already trademarked. And we want to stay away from those, right? We want this to be unique to you. So just make sure you do your due diligence to make sure that you can legally use that, because if you don't, someone might come after you and just be like, that's ours. And then you have to start over. You may have invested time and energy marketing it. When you go and someday when this all takes off for you and you want to get a trademark, a registered legal trademark, then it will be that much more difficult to get it approved if someone else is using something exactly or very similar in the same type of context of training and coaching and stuff like that. So just wanted to give you that as a heads up to make sure you're doing your research, and then you're good to go. So up next, I'm going to teach you where now that you have your method, are going to have your method, where you're going to go and share it to go generate that authority that you deserve.